It was about at this point in the race where I discovered a huge problem. Welcome to Brands Hatch in the Endurance Series, a prototype car. As you can see, I'm starting pretty much at the back of the pack. There wasn't actually many of us in this race. There were certainly more touring cars, as you can see in the rearview mirror right now. I think there was only 4 of us in the Group 1. Now, as you can see, I have chosen to go with the hard tyres. Reason behind this is because I've actually planned this race out. I decided that I did the maths when we was at Spa that the hard tyres was lasting about 22 to 25 minutes. Now, I know Brands Hatch isn't the easiest on tyres, but if I can take my time and try and keep up with the pack, but not scrub my tyres too much, I might be able to drag him out for just over 30 minutes. Now, if that is the case, I'm going to pit roughly about 2 times, maybe 1 time less than everybody else. What is going on here? Do you mind? We're on the straight line. What was that about? Oh dear mate. Nothing like a good start there. Thank you, Charlie. That was much appreciated. In a straight line, you turn into me, well, another off track, and I can't really grumble at that. Right. Heading back to what I was saying. If I can stretch the tyres out, I'm going to pit at far less than everybody else. If I can get away with pitting just the once at the 30-minute mark, I can fuel up as well, and yeah, continue on with the race. If I did the maths correctly, you're looking about 35 seconds to pit to 40 seconds to pit at Brands, and providing I am not more than 40 seconds down to the cars up in front of me, I am in a strong position to win at this race. Again, plan and execution is there. Whether it executes in my favor is a totally different ball game, as I do go off track, and whatever that means. 0.012, nothing like lap 2 penalty right there. Thankfully though, the car behind Charlie did get a bigger penalty, although I would have expected them to get a far larger penalty for pushing me off track. Now again, I don't think that they deliberately pushed me off track. There's something funky happened there, and I'm not too sure what it is, because they're not doing it again, if you understand what I mean. Either they lost control, like I just did, and put me into the gravel, or there was a lag or ping issue where the game thought they was driving into me when they clearly wasn't, or I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below on that situation I had in the previous lap. Okay, so we lost a few seconds there. We are now 9 seconds down from P1 and 5 seconds away from P2. Not the greatest of starts, because I do believe P1 is on medium tyres. I'm not too sure what P2 is on, and let's say they are also on medium tyres, they are going to be gaining substantially from myself. Bearing in mind though, if P2 is on hard tyres, I am going to be able to keep up with them. Hopefully, if that is the case, I can reel them in as well. This is one of the great things I love about endurance racing, because although I was 5 seconds down from Charlie up in front, Charlie did have a bit of an incident, I presume. Thus, I was able to catch him up. I've also managed to find a second on IZ that is in position 1, who again I do believe is on medium tyres. So finding a second whilst I'm also at a tyre disadvantage is huge, and I've just got to keep up very close to the track limits right there. Again, I've just got to keep the pressure on, and again be mindful that I've got to look after these tyres as I was going around. Position 4 did quit the race. Sadly, that off track they had around this corner was too much for them to stay. I know I mentioned this in the previous video, that it is very upsetting and frustrating that the lobbies are not massively populated for an endurance series, and when they are, well, you do find a bit of a population, as I do have a bit of funkiness myself, but when you do find a population, that a small incident at the beginning of the race is enough to make somebody leave the race in itself. You can see that during the whole race we are on here for 1 whole hour. It's 1 hour of constant pushing, constant making sure you're hitting everything as perfectly as you can at maximum effort. It's just not easy to do. So mistakes are made. People do things wrong. I do things wrong. You know, you saw me have a bit of that incident by myself. I also went off at the beginning of the race, trying to give space to Charlie on the inside. Again, I was probably a bit more nervous. The fact of I don't want to have an incident with Charlie again. You know, I don't want to be on the rough end of the stick, and I was at the rough end of the stick and no incident happened. So, you know, things do happen during a race. It gives you the opportunity to claw back the time you've lost. As you can see, Charlie is eking away from me little by little during this race, which puts me into the belief they're on medium tyres. Or they're just a better driver, who knows. Either way, again, they are eking away from me ever so slowly. 3 more TCR cars to overtake up in front. They are on the straight towards turn 1. Hopefully they're on the straight enough there. They might be bottling up ahead. 6.7 seconds away from IZ, 3.3 away from Charlie. Going around turn 1 now, in 3rd gear, downhill and powering on as early and bravely as possible. And up the hill we go. Braking down in 2nd gear at the 100 meter board, over the curb, and then accelerating out the other side. Down to the right hand side, 100 meter board, tap of the brakes in 3rd gear, rip the curb on the left, onto the outer banking on the right, and accelerating out the corner again. Don't go off track like I do twice in a row. It is an easy place to give out a penalty, but it is a great place to come into a corner quite hot and use the banking to keep the car on the track. So it's pass and parcel there. You've got to be careful, but it is beneficial. Touch of the brakes, 100 meter board in 4th gear, round the corner we go. There is HP up in front in the Subaru Vogue, rocking the FMR livery right there. Thank you to Ping for creating that livery for the car. It looks absolutely stunning. And I touch a bit of grass. Touch a little bit of grass and it does that to my car. Oh, dear me. It could not get any worse. So I got overtaken by a TCR car, pushing this car too much, trying to get back onto my feet. Thankfully no penalty was given down. Thankfully I didn't go off track again. But I have now lost a considerable amount of time. By the looks of it, and estimate a good 4 seconds as I went up and tucked up behind HP. He wasn't too sure on my position or where I was going to go, but thankfully we didn't collide either. But now we have this tiny bit of breathing space. I'd like to take a moment out to thank our channel members, which are Andy Good, Jeff Anderson, DMC Motorsport Sigmatic, Daniel Adams, John Burns, AK47. Thank you guys very much for supporting the channel. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, why not hit that subscribe button down below. Catching up to the TCR cars up in front, 2 Levorgs are battling each other there. That's position 1 and 2. Thankfully I have a wide enough track going on the left hand side of one Levorg, over to the right hand side of Levorg number 2. Be quite interesting. I did clip that Levorg actually. I came back in a little bit earlier. I was going to say it'd be quite funny to have a few more Levorgs up in front. Left, right, left, right, left, right. It'd be like trying to skip through morning rush hour traffic on the motorway. Coming around here, 100 meter board, over the curb we go, and trying to pull back a bit of time. IZ up in front has a 0.015 mile penalty, so does Charlie, and I've got the released penalty there, so that is good news. Because that means IZ has also gone off track somewhere, claimed the penalty, so mistakes are being made or situations are developing. I have lost a little bit more time from IZ up in front, but Charlie did go into the pits, so they was on medium tyres. That would be one of the reasons why I was losing a little bit of pace from them up in front. Now they're in the pits, they are behind me. Depending on what tyre choice they have gone for, I'm still in a strong situation. IZ up in front hasn't gone into the pits yet. That means, whilst I'm undertaking HP, giving a bit of space, I thought they was going to go for that corner, and I backed out and waited, and they presumed I was going to send it, and they went off track. Sorry HP, I did brake there for you to go through. Heading back to what I was just saying, oh, IZ's in the pit right now. There we go, so that means I'm going to be maybe ahead of them as they come out the other side. Yes, they're still in the pits now, so let's see, because they were 20 seconds ahead, at what time they come out of the pits, and that will give us our perfect estimate time of how long it takes to go through the pits. They're still in 10 seconds, so 30-ish seconds. Add 5 seconds to build a bit of speed back up as well and coming out the other side. 9.4, yeah, about 30 seconds in that pit. My tyres are now starting to show minor wear, which is a good sign in retrospect. Now hear me out here. I have 4 minutes remaining of this race to be at the bang on halfway mark. Barring a few mistakes I have made, probably costing a little bit more rubber as well. Hopefully the second half of this race will be far better. Knowing that my tyres are now on minor wear, I have got maximum front and rear downforce, so hopefully that doesn't affect this car too much. I can keep a pace still set and push this car. I want to get over the other side of the 30-minute marker, so at the latter half of the race I'm in a better position. I'd rather sacrifice a little bit now and be able to push a bit better later on. IZ is now down in position 3, 12.3 seconds away. Charlie is 9.1 seconds away, so I've got to try and keep that time roughly about there as much as I can. Nearly all the tyres are on minor wear right now. 33 minutes of this race remaining. I think I'm going to do about another 3 or 4 laps on these tyres, and hopefully just before they go into moderate wear I can push it into the pits and have the latter stint of this race on hard tyres again, and only have to pit that once. It'd be perfect, because if everyone's pitted early, especially IZ pitting at the 34-minute marker, they have 2 options really. Either they go on hard tyres and their latter half, the second half of the race is going to be really bad because their tyres are going to be in moderate wear to major wear, and IZ is going, if they're chosen to go on medium tyres or hard tyres, they're going to have to pit again regardless. So that is another pit stop they all have to do, and I don't. That is my calculations. Fingers crossed, and hit that like button. Hopefully I can pull it off. One of my tyres is now clicked onto moderate wear. We are on the other side of the 30-minute mark. Not as far as I'd hoped for, but it's time to pit. We need to get some fuel in this car, get some tyres in this car. As you can see, Charlie has managed to find a good few seconds on me, which is also not the best of things happening right now. Right, turning into these pits, we are looking at getting another set of hard tyres and some fuel. So I'm not too sure how much fuel we need. I don't know how many laps we've done up to now, it doesn't tell you. So hard tyres and custom amount of fuel. It reckons we need 16 laps of fuel. So I'll put 18.5 laps in, so I've got a bit of play just in case. And this is where Forza can't do maths. Remember that 16 laps of fuel, because that is going to be crucial for the latter half of this race. It said 16 laps, okay? I put enough fuel in for 18.5 laps, so hopefully I'll have plenty of fuel in the tank when I finish this race. We're going to soon find out, but managed to come out of the pits and not in front, not behind any touring car. And it was next to a Honda Civic who did give me space to come out of the pits, which is absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. Coming around these corners now, you can see Charlie is in position 1, 30 seconds away. IZ is 21.5 seconds away. That is not the best of news right there. But I do know they're going to have to pit again. IZ is certainly going to have to pit once. That's going to cost them 30 seconds. So on my calculations, they will be coming out of the pits. I will be 9 seconds ahead of them, give or take, as I can on these fresh set of tyres. Start pouring them back in a little bit. Charlie is going to have to pit maybe once or twice, depending on their tyre choice. Because if they go mediums all the way through, they're going to have to pit twice. And if they're on hards in this stint, they're certainly going to have to pick mediums or softs at the latter half of this race. So they're going to have to pit twice. So, yeah. I have my mathematical calculations in my head. And I think we're on to a winner at the moment. I think. That's providing I don't fall off the track again. But as you can see, the sun is setting. And hopefully as the dark and the night starts to roll in, the cars up in front start making further mistakes. 25 minutes of this race remaining, and Charlie is in the pit, so they did go for medium again. And I think they're coming out of the pits now. Up there in front of me. Shame, but at least I got someone to follow and drag me along. That was a bit too close. That was a bit too close. Nearly went into the drink there. That's the last place I want to go. IZ must have gone on to hards, as they have not pitted yet. But yeah, I would say Charlie is running mediums to mediums. Which is good news for us, really, because they have 25 minutes remaining of this race. That means they're going to have to pit one more time, thus giving us 30 seconds back, as they did go off track there, but not far enough, because clearly they got back on. IZ is going to have to pit one more time. That brings us back to 9 seconds ahead of them. Yep. The value of mass. Education is key. It doesn't always work out. 100 meter board, third gear, over the curb we go, and accelerating out to the side. It is quite actually nice to see that, although I'm on the lesser, grippier tyres, I'm actually able to keep up with Charlie up in front. Little by little, they are eking away from me. But HP in the corner did get tangled up with Charlie. I understand Charlie's perspective. He sees me in the rearview mirror and is trying to really get away from me, let's be honest. But sometimes waiting for a car that is certainly slower than you in a different class to get out of the way in a safe manner is also better, because if things went a different way and they got tangled up, then the fault would lie on Charlie. Being the overtaking car, you've got to overtake and pass safely. It's your responsibility. While HP also needs to be predictive. Coming out of a corner is not always the easiest place to overtake, due to obviously the slower cars looking in the mirror. I've got to get out of the way of the faster car, and the faster cars like, come on, let me get through somewhere, and they see a gap, go for it, and the slower car sees the gap that I can move into to get out of the way, and yeah, things tangle up. That's what I love about endurance racing, because it's totally different to normal racing. They're not just overtaking the same car that's in front of you, that has the same power, the same everything else, give or take, bar a few characteristics. You are in a totally different race whilst in a race with somebody else. Anyway, keeping the pressure onto Charlie, I'm hoping that I can persuade them to make a mistake. IZ is 21 seconds away, and we are minimalistically catching them up. Charlie is not really breaking away from me, and I think I'm getting a little bit slipstream to eke them back in. But overall, I think it's going rather well. I'm certainly in a better position than I was at the beginning of this race, and certainly a lot less mistakes at the moment. 15 minutes left of the race remaining. Charlie did eke away from me, and I did end up going into the drink in turn 1. Went off track, yep. Totally my fault. I managed to do it all by myself, just pushing that a little bit too hard. But as you can see, my tyres are really shining. I'm really impressed of how well I managed to hold on to these tyres. They're doing exceptionally well. And keeping that pressure up on Charlie, it's not going to be long till they have to pit again. But I do believe at the latter half of this, well, the next pit is going to be going straight to softs, because at the time we are at, there's really no point to be going on mediums. About 13 minutes soft tyres will last. Going up the inside of HP, braving that corner, rubbing the curb on the left and accelerating out the side. Not a perfect line, but quicker than being stuck behind a touring car. IZ is due to pit any time soon, and I'll presume they're also going on softs as well, due to obviously how little of the race is left. Knowing that, that means they're going to be 9 seconds behind me on soft tyres, whilst I am going to be 9 seconds ahead on worn hard tyres. That is a combination that I did not plan out in my head. That is going to be quite a tough challenge to make sure that they stay 9 seconds away whilst my tyres are worn and they're on fresh, great soft tyres. Yeah. It was about at this point in the race where I discovered a huge problem. If you have a look at the screen, it shows I have 2 laps of fuel remaining. Just 2. That is why I'm short shifting, to try and save fuel to extend these 2 laps. Now if my calculations are correct, 6 minutes 40 seconds remaining, average of 123-ish per lap, according to what my pit estimate was. I need about 2 or 3 more laps worth of fuel. Bearing in mind, Forza did say in the pits that I have 16 laps remaining and I put 18.5 laps of fuel into this car. So, where are these other 3 laps coming from, you might ask? I have no idea, but someone can't do maths back in the control room. Not too sure, but someone misprinted on the calculator. Because, thinking back at it now, the calculations I am doing in my head, I needed about 20 plus laps worth of fuel, not 16. And some of you eagle-eyed calculators may have noticed this before, but 13 minutes into a race that has no lap counter on the screen, I have no idea how many laps I've done, especially the time I've done it at. And as you're entering the pits, I certainly can't calculate that fast that I have done 30 minutes of the race, 1 minute 20 per lap. How many laps have I done? While I'm trying to choose my tyres and think about the next step is what fuel should I be putting into this car. Again, I did err on the side of caution. I could have put just 16 laps worth of fuel in, but I didn't. I chose 18 just to have that little bit more, because you can go off track, you do funkiness, whatever. But there's a level of funkiness, and there's literally nearly running out of fuel this close to the end of the race. I said 0 laps now, and I mean, I'm short shifting early, 7 seconds away from IZ behind, 23 seconds away from Charlie. I don't have time to pit, especially at less than 5 minutes left of the race. And if I did pit, I'm going to lose anyway, because that's going to be another 30 seconds onto my lap time. Why did it miscalculate? I'm in P1, and if I could keep pushing this car, I can lose a second a lap and I will still win. But I can't, because I can't push this car anymore, because I'm just about out of fuel. 0 laps remaining, and I'm short shifting this car really early just to try and save the last drop of fuel. But I think it's really all going to be in vain, because it says 0 and I've got 4 minutes of this race remaining. Absolutely brutal. Seriously, how can you mess up a calculator? It does the work for you. I go off track here because revs are so low, it's not helping me rotate the car. But I'm also looking at the fuel gauge far too much, thinking, how far can I make it under this amount of fuel? You can see that IZ Charlie also had an issue. They're still 6 seconds away at the moment right now. Charlie's 20 seconds away, clawing it in. But it doesn't matter. It's such in vain. That's it. It's out. 3 minutes of the race remaining, which is 2.5 laps. I'm out of fuel, and the tyres have just clicked onto minor wear. I mean, seriously, what? just park it in a wall. What's the point? I'm ghosted. I've ran out of fuel. Race is over. 3 minutes remaining, and everybody's going to be wondering why I parked here, because even if I press the pause button, it doesn't ghost me around into the pits. I'm still sat where I am. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.